A draft ran down John's back, even though the windows were tightly closed. A strange feeling of chilliness had been haunting him for the past month, as if foreshadowing something inevitable. He was sorting through papers, preparing for an important presentation at work. 50 years old, not a time for failures. He needed to prove that he still had it. Jonh and Margaret had been together for 28 years. A strong marriage, as it seemed from the outside. 2 grown children, a granddaughter, a cozy house outside the city, a stable income. Everything was normal, but lately, something had changed. Margaret had become more distant, pensive, and often stayed late at work. Jonh attributed it all to fatigue, a midlife crisis. On that fateful evening, he was looking for old photos on Margaret's computer for a family album. Margaret had been asking for it for a long time, but he couldn't find the time. He accidentally stumbled upon a folder innocently named Projects. Curiosity got the better of him. The folder contained hundreds of messages, photos, videos. All of them addressed to someone other than him. The initial shock paralyzed him. The world seemed to turn upside down. He read and reread, not believing his eyes. Sweet words, declarations of love, joint photos with a man he had never seen before. With each new message, the pain increased, turning into burning resentment and anger. 7 years. 7 long years of lies and hypocrisy. Jonh slammed the laptop shut, as if trying to stop the nightmare. He went out onto the terrace, took a deep breath of fresh air, trying to calm down. But his heart was pounding like crazy. How could she deceive him and the children, for so long? He returned to the house, deciding to talk to Margaret immediately, without delay. She returned late, tired. Seeing his face, she immediately realized that something had happened. "Jonh, what's wrong?" He silently handed her the laptop. Margaret turned pale as a sheet. She didn't deny it. "Yes, it's true," she said quietly, lowering her head. 7 years, Margot. 7 years, Jonh shouted, unable to contain his anger. "How could you?" Margaret was silent. He didn't understand what was going on in her head, what thoughts were tormenting her. But at that moment, he didn't care. His wife's betrayal had shattered his heart into pieces. The conversation was long and agonizing. Margaret tried to explain that things hadn't been right in their marriage for a long time, that she lacked attention, warmth, and passion. Jonh listened, but couldn't forgive her. 7 years of lies had crossed out all the good that was between them. The next morning, Jonh made a decision. Divorce. He could no longer live with a woman who had deceived him for so long. The divorce process turned out to be complex and painful. 28 years of married life is a long time. A lot of jointly acquired property. A house, a car, a country house, savings. Endless disputes, calculations, and divisions began. Margaret wanted to keep the house, but Jonh was adamant. The house was built with his money, he had put his heart and soul into it. He wanted to start a new life, and this house was a symbol of the old, deceitful life. The children, learning about the reason for the divorce, sided with their father. They loved their mother, but couldn't forgive her betrayal. Margaret was left alone. Jonh hired a lawyer who helped him defend his interests. The house was divided in half. The car was sold, the money was divided. The country house went to Margaret. The savings were divided equally. In the process of the divorce, Jonh learned a lot about his wife, about her secret life. He learned that her lover was a young businessman who had promised her a fortune. But the promises remained promises. The man turned out to be married and wasn't going to change anything in his life. Margaret was left with nothing. Without a husband, without a home, without a lover. She tried to improve her relationship with her children, but they were cold and distant. Jonh, on the contrary, felt relief. He felt as if he had freed himself from a burden that had been weighing him down for years. He sold his half of the house and bought a small apartment in the city. He started exercising, traveling, and meeting with friends. He decided to live for himself. Of course, the pain of betrayal still tormented his soul for a long time. But he tried not to dwell on the past. He looked to the future with hope and optimism. He realized that life goes on, and that at 50, it's just beginning. One day, he met Margaret on the street. She looked older and unhappy. She tried to talk to him, to apologize. But Jonh couldn't forgive her. He simply walked past in silence. He felt no gloating or joy, only sadness and regret about wasted time. He realized that life is too short to waste it on resentment and regret. Jonh started a new life. He found a new job, met a new woman. He was happy again. He realized that betrayal is not the end of the world. It's a chance to start over. It's an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and happier. John's story is a story about how it's never too late to start a new life. Even after betrayal, even after divorce, even after 50 years. The main thing is to believe in yourself and not lose hope.